The ghosts of a massive Windows outage are supposedly haunting their sales cycles, yet they somehow just delivered the biggest net new quarter in corporate history. It's August 26th, 2026. This is Earnings Unscripted, and we're dissecting CrowdStrike's fiscal second quarter 2027, ticker CRWD, looking at the absolute state of enterprise cybersecurity.
It completely defies gravity. The headline metrics are basically bulletproof. Total revenue hit about $1.47 billion, up 26% year over year. Management is literally out there calling their momentum a full-on acceleration.
Right, and they comfortably beat expectations too. They pulled in 31 cents a share in non-GAAP earnings, plus they're boasting a 25% operating margin while they're at it. So basically they're flexing on the entire market.
The tape definitely loved the flexing. The stock gapped up hard in extended hours and held on to double-digit gains right through the evening session. And just keeping our lawyers happy since we're discussing price action, these are strictly our personal takes, not financial advice. But honestly, Susie, that market momentum is entirely driven by fear. Customers are frantic right now.
Okay, fear of what exactly?
AI agents. Specifically, the sheer speed of agentic AI attacks. Old vulnerability scanners are effectively obsolete now, so companies are dropping their fragmented legacy tools and rushing to consolidate onto CrowdStrike just to survive the threat environment.
Which totally lines up with that story George Kurtz told on the call about a mega tech conglomerate. Their DevOps teams were apparently begging for help because their own autonomous AI agents were moving too fast for their old security setup. It's like having a robot intern sprinting through the halls at light speed, and they desperately needed CrowdStrike to install some locked doors.
Yeah, the currency of enterprise protection is now just presence and speed. That's exactly why their Falcon Flex licensing is tearing through the market. They added hundreds of new Flex accounts this quarter simply by letting CIOs lock in a broad platform commitment up front and frictionlessly switch on whatever modules they need to stop the bleeding.
Which sounds like a flawless victory on paper, except there's a weird shift in how they're estimating sales commissions to help prop up those operating margins, and I want to know if they're using accounting tweaks to hide the real cost of those July outage apologies.
They're definitely utilizing a few moving parts under the hood to maintain that profitability profile. If you dig into the filings, they changed the accounting estimate for the amortization period of their sales commissions.
Okay, wait, run that by me. So they basically just slash the actual cash they give their sales team to artificially boost the bottom line.
No, not quite. The reps still get their cash up front exactly the same way. It's strictly an accounting choice on the income statement. They stretched the useful life of those commissions from 4 years out to 5. Spreading the recognition out longer naturally decreases the current quarter's expenses, which quietly tricks out that margin narrative we discussed.
Oh, wow. All right, so they pay the piper today but stretch the paperwork out for years.
Exactly. It helps absorb some of the very real financial drag they're facing from the whole July incident. You look at the 10Q, and management is extremely blunt about it.
Yeah, they call them customer commitment packages, right? Which is basically corporate speak for aggressive discounting and groveling so you go and churn.
Spot on. The official disclosure explicitly warns this discounting is causing increased contraction, well, mostly due to elongated subscription terms. Plus, they're seeing decreased upsell dollar values.
So they're taking a beating on upsells, but somehow they still posted roughly $377 million in free cash flow, up 30-something%. If legacy renewals are stalling, what's bridging that massive gap?
Falcon Flex, and specifically how they're monetizing the AI chaos we touched on. They introduced a token-based consumption model for their new AI detection and response module. Instead of just a flat-rate software license, it scales directly with how much the customer actually uses the system to govern shadow AI.
Of course, tokenization. So they basically adopted the billing model of the major AI labs themselves. If a company spins up more rogue AI agents, they inherently have to buy more CrowdStrike tokens just to watch them.
Right. George Kurtz made a really compelling point about this during Q&A. He said, "It is a model I think has served us well, where it is not runaway costs for customers. Certainly, as they scale up their AI, they certainly can up-level the tokens, and it is friction-free to do that with Falcon Flex."
Okay, so Flex operates like this giant corporate gift card. You buy the master contract up front, then burn down tokens on whatever fire happens to be in your server room that week without calling procurement.
That's the brilliance of it. It eliminates the procurement cycle entirely. In this quarter, the top 10 deals by total value were all Flex accounts. It totally removes the friction of begging the CFO for money every time a new threat pops up.
Which means we've got these two totally opposing forces right now. There's this insane hypergrowth from AI tokenization pushing them upward, fighting against this gravitational drag of discounting older core accounts to apologize for the Windows crash. What happens to the math when the bulk of those non-Flex legacy renewals finally come up for negotiation next quarter?
It gets messy. That's exactly where the gravity hits. Management explicitly admitted in the filings that those apology packages will cause increased contraction. They're basically giving away extended terms and sacrificing upsell dollars just to keep those legacy accounts in the building.
Right, but that's what's so wild to me. If they know that retention hit is coming, how are they projecting so much confidence? I mean, they just hiked the full year target, didn't they?
They did, and it's because they think the new platform adoption completely overpowers that drag. Listen to how their CFO, Bert Podbear, framed it on the call. He said, when compared to our initial guide for the year, we raised the growth rate 1,150 basis points or $116 million in just 2 quarters. That talks to the durability.
Okay, that's a serious flex. But hold on, what about that acquisition they announced, XM Cyber? Are they just buying their way to those updated targets?
Actually, no, and that's the interesting part. Podbear threw a flag saying they excluded any revenue from XM Cyber in this guidance. So their third quarter target, guiding net new ARR to a midpoint around $345 million, is totally organic. My real watch item going forward is just whether operating margins crack once the actual legal settlements hit.
Right. So we have this ultimate race between hypergrowth AI tailwinds and very real legal gravity. It's going to be a fascinating winter for these guys. Thanks for getting into the weeds with me, Miro.
Always a pleasure. Catch you later.
Before we wrap up, if you like how we break these numbers down, maybe hit follow on your player so the next one finds you automatically. And just a quick reminder on how the show works. This entire podcast, our voices included, is a fully synthetic AI experiment designed to digest CrowdStrike's massive quarterly filings and drop this conversation into your feed on the exact same day. We'd love to hear your thoughts or what ticker we should tackle next. So shoot an email to earningsunscripted@datamanus.ca. Thanks for hanging out.
Catch you next time.